Sensitivity is the source of all virtues. Therefore, sensitive means virtuous. Sensitivity is also the one and only technique of enlightenment. And after enlightenment, sensitivity is the final outcome of enlightenment. Enlightenment leads to the realization of nirvana, the supreme bliss in us. Buddha referred to nirvana as sunyata. In Sanskrit it is called sunyatva. In English it is translated as void or emptiness. Emptiness means the emptiness of the mind. Mind becomes empty when its content is not there. When the content is removed. What does the mind contain? Feelings and thoughts. Thoughts are mental images. Feelings are associated with those mental images. That is our unenlightened, normal mind, full of thoughts and feelings, the mind. When there are no thoughts and no feelings, feeling means we like pleasant feelings, we dislike unpleasant feelings, and we ignore neutral feelings. Enlightenment means the extinction of likes, dislikes, and ignorance. Likes lead to attachment. Dislikes leads to resentment, and ignorance leads to indifference. Enlightenment means the mind free of attachment, resentment, and ignorance. It means the mind is free of thinking and associated feelings. Because we think of things that we like and get attached to, we think of things that we dislike and resent, and we think of things that we are ignorant of. Enlightenment means extinction of attachment, resentment, and ignorance, called raga, dosa, and moha in Pali. Therefore, enlightenment is referred to in Pali as ragakaya, dosakaya, mohakaya. Meaning, ragakaya, the extinction of attachment. Dosakaya, the extinction of resentment. Mohakaya, the extinction of ignorance. Extinction of ignorance means being sensitive. Being sensitive means being aware through sense organs. The sense organs become aware of their respective sense organs, objects. The eye becomes aware of physical objects, physical forms, light waves reflected by the objects or reflected by certain other objects, generated and reflected by objects, brilliant objects. Sun radiates light. Therefore, we become aware of light radiated by certain items or bodies or objects, or light reflected by certain objects. The eye has the capacity or sensitivity for light waves. The ear has the capacity or the sensitivity for sound waves. The nose has the sensitivity for smells. The tongue has the sensitivity for taste. The body, the skin has the sensitivity. They are called tactile sensation. Feeling the touch. The mind has the sensitivity to be aware of mental objects. Objects formed by the mind. Mind is a generator of mental objects with the help of the memories retained in our brain. Mind is also called as a sense object, a sense organ that becomes aware of mental images. That is sensitivity. The Buddhist technique of enlightenment is sharpening of the sensitivity. Sensitivity means being aware of. It is referred to as sati in Pali, the awareness, and is also known as mindfulness. It is the mind ultimately become aware of sensations. In meditation, the Buddhist meditation, we develop the sensitivity. To develop the sensitivity, we have to stop another function of the mind. The mind has two capacities. To be aware of sense object, that is called sensation through sensitivity. And another capacity is thinking of those things with the help of past memories and future expectations. Thinking is motivated by our intentions, by ourself, because we think of things what ourself likes, what ourself dislikes, and what ourself is ignorant. Therefore, thinking is self-centered. But sensation or sensitivity is natural, spontaneous. It is not intentional for the eye to become aware of something or the ear to become aware of something. They happen automatically, normally. That is the function of a living body. When we are alive, our sense organs become sensitive, but unfortunately, with regard to the unenlightened ones, the sensitivity is very gross, not refined. They become gross or polluted by thinking. Awareness is natural. Thinking comes in due to attachment or resentment or ignorance, called raga, dosa, moha in Pali. They are mental defilements. Resentment is a mental defilement. Attachment is also a mental defilement. Even ignorance is a mental defilement. It is referred to in law as negligence, defined as the lack of duty of care. Therefore, in law, negligence is also considered as a motive, as an intention. Intentionally, if you do something negligently, you may not have been aware, but through negligent driving, you may kill somebody. Then the law imports your intention into it because of your carelessness, because the lack of duty of care. Having the duty of care means responsible for what you do through your words, deeds, or thoughts. You become sensitive when you become careful of your function of mind, body, thoughts, and mouth or words. Not to hurt others. Sensitivity means the capacity not to hurt others. When you are sensitive, you don't hurt others. That is the basic discipline required for enlightenment. For 20 years after enlightenment, Buddha taught, or we can say instructed, his disciple on the path of enlightenment, saying, Sabba papa sakarana, refrain from malfunctioning, papa, wrongdoings, through your words, deeds. That is papa. Refraining from sabba papa sakarana. Then you dwell on the kusala, merits, good deeds, virtues. Sabba papa sakarana kusalasya upasampada. That is, kusala means the virtuousness. Virtue, as I mentioned earlier, is based on our sensitivity. If you are sensitive, no particular virtue need to be cultivated, because virtue means not to hurt others, but to please others, be of comfort to others, to be benevolent. Being benevolent is a virtue. Being malevolent is evil. It is an akusal, wrongdoing. And that is the basic step. First, be sensitive and avoid hurting others through your deeds. Sasa akarana. Then develop your capacity to be of benefit to others. That means it can be of benefit to yourself. Being good to others, you are pleased with yourself, with your own virtues. But Buddha said the third step, sachitta pariyodapana, cleanse your mind. Cleanse your mind from the defilements. As I mentioned earlier, attachment is a mental defilement. It pollutes the mind. Attachment, I like this, that is, you are speaking mentally. Resentment, repulsion, that is a mental defilement. They are the magnetic activities of the mind. Attachment, that is attraction. You get attached to things that you are attracted to, that you like. The resentment means you are repulsing certain things that you dislike. Those are mental magnetic activities, liking and disliking, attachment or resentment. Mental magnetism is a mental defilement. Mental liking or disliking, that is dependent on the idea of self, the I-ness, the ego. Like means I like. Dislike means I dislike. Attracted means I am attracted. Repulsive means I am becoming repulsive. The I is there. They are self-motivated. All thoughts are self-motivated. After enlightenment, there are no thought formations. Enlightened ones do not think. That is why Buddha, as recorded in the Jaravagava Dhammapada, in his first paean of joy, uttered, at the enlightenment, all my thought ceased to function. The mind became free of thoughts, both good thoughts, bad thoughts, and neutral thoughts. Visankara gatan chitta. Sankara means thought formations. At the enlightenment, mind becomes empty of thinking, because enlightenment means the eradication of the causes of thinking, as I mentioned, liking, disliking, and ignorance or indifference. Liking means getting attached to something, attachment. Disliking means resenting something. The ignorance means become indifferent to things. When you are indifferent, you are not interested. You are not keen. Enlightened mind, though it is not thinking, it is very alert, very energetic. Because the mind of an enlightened mind is not wasted by the thinking. Thinking needs mental energy. It is using mental energy that one can think. That energy is saved, preserved, conservation of energy through not thinking. Therefore, the enlightened mind is constantly alert. That is why in Pali it is said that the enlightened ones are sleepless. In Pali, Jagaryani Yogo. They do not sleep. We need sleep to give rest to our mind and the body. But though we overexert the energy of our mind and body, the enlightened ones do not exceed the energy required for normal living. They save energy by not thinking. But they are sensitive. All their sense organs are alert, active, energetic, constantly aware. Sleepless, they don't sleep. They do not become lethargic. They do not become dormant. That is why they are called Jagaryani Yoga, sleepless. The sense organs do not sleep. They live alert, and during that period of alertness, they become aware of all sensations. Their sensitivity functions. But when they get into the trance called ending of sensation, it is referred to in Buddhist language as Sanya, Vedaita, Nirodha, Samapada. Sanya means signals given by sense organs with regard to sense objects. Vedaita is the mind becoming aware of those sensations. Nirodha means the extinction of that. In that they get absorbed in the emptiness of the mind, free from thinking, free from sensation. Sensation means the sense organs becoming active and alert. That is sensitivity. Practicing awareness, that is being sensitive. Krishnamurti refers to the sensitivity that leads to enlightenment as choiceless awareness. Choice means a mental activity. You select. This is good, this is bad. You name things, this is good, this is bad through past experience. The mind goes into the past. But the enlightened mind lives not in the dead past, nor in the unborn future. They live in the present moment, here and now. Here means ehi passiko in Pali. Now means sanditiko. They live the moment, ephemeral moment. But we, when our sense organs become aware of sense objects, it sends a signal to the mind that comes in contact with the past memories. Oh, that figure is that of my mother, father, brother, girlfriend, boyfriend, and so on. You come to the conclusion. You name it. This is a tree. The word tree is your memory, past knowledge. When you name something, your mind runs away from the present moment into the unborn future. You think of things with some future expectation. Nice girl, I want to marry her. Nice boy, I want to marry him. That is how the young girls and boys think of other girls and boys. That their thinking is projected into the unborn future with the memories of the past. You like or dislike somebody due to your past experiences. Then you are sensitive to things as they are. The realistic sensation withers away, disappears. You are not sensitive to sense objects, but only to mental images created by the mind by moving into the dead past and projecting those memories into the unborn future. Both the past and the future are not here at the moment, therefore they are not actual realities. The actual reality is the present moment. Sensitivity means becoming sensitive to the present moment. What happens in the present moment? Our sense organs, they are living. Therefore, they become aware of sense object naturally, unintentionally. Thoughts are brought about by intentions, with a motive. The eye sees unintentionally. The ear hears unintentionally. But when you look intentionally. When you listen intentionally. You listen to things that you like or dislike, or that you are ignorant of, that you cannot understand. So are the things that you see and that other sense organs becoming aware of. In these circumstances, being sensitive means all sense organs becoming alert, to be aware of sense objects, but without thinking of them. That is the shortest cut taught by Buddha to an ascetic called Bahya. In the Bahya Sutta, there is quote that we get in the Khuddaka Nikaya. He advised, if you want to get enlightened, the shortest cut is to become aware of sense objects, that it means all sense organs becoming alert, but without thinking of anything about the sensation. That means being aware without liking, disliking, or ignoring. When it is not present or when it is not unpleasant, you ignore it. You get interested in things that are present because you want them to continue in the future. You become interested in unpleasant things because you want to get rid of them. When things are neither pleasant nor unpleasant, you ignore them. The mind becomes dormant. That means the alertness of the mind sinks. But when we are enlightened, all sense organs are constantly alert. The mind is also constantly alert. When you are in a trance, your outer sense organs may become dormant, but your mind becomes alert, becoming aware of. That's what happens in meditation. At the beginning, all sense organs are alert. Then ultimately what happens is, when sense organs alert without thinking, the mind is not exerting unnecessary energy for thinking. The mind becomes very active, alert, and mind is in a state of ecstasy because there is neither attraction nor repulsion, no liking nor disliking, no thinking. The mind is calmed down. That is why it is called, the mind becomes vacant, vivekajam pita sukha, without making mental formations. Mind becomes vacant, and in that emptiness, in that vagueness, there is a delight. And you may get attached with that delight. When you become attached to the delight of transcendental meditation, that trance may disappear. Enlightenment means the complete extinction of all attachment. That means, although you are sensitive, although your sense organs are alert, you are not attached to the awareness or whatever the sense organs become aware of. Why? You realize through experience all what we experience through sense organs lead to the formation of mental images, and we become aware of only mental images that are born to decay and die. No mental images last long. They are born to decay and die. That is the experience that the first disciple of the Buddha, known as Kondanya, realized by listening to the maiden sermon of the Buddha, known as Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. At the end of the discourse, Buddha said, there dawned in the mind of Reverend Kondanya the mental eye to see the reality or the real nature of mental images. What is the basic mental reality of mental images that we call as our thought or thought forms? They are born to decay and die. They appear to disappear. They are passing away like clouds. Thoughts are passing away like clouds. And Buddha, at the end of the sermon, said what Reverend Kondanya experienced. Yankinchi samudaya dhammang sabbantan nirodha dhammati. That is what Reverend Kondanya experienced. All appearances in the mind, all mental images, they appear to disappear. Samudaya dhammam, they are born. Nirodha dhammanti, to be extinct, to die. Not only thought forms, there is the nature, the basic nature of everything material. Every material phenomenon appears to disappear. Therefore, there is nothing that we can get attached to, and there is nothing that we can resent, because they are born to decay instantly. Because what we becoming aware of through our mind are not the mental object that sense organs become aware of. but what the mind creates with the help of the signals given by sense organs. And all of them are mental images. And we become aware of only our mental images as objects. We see them as real, but they are illusory. They are not real objects. Like the image of yourself or somebody in a mirror. Images are not real. Mental images too are not real. They are illusory. Once you realize that, they appear to disappear instantly because they are made of thought sparks called chittakkana. Sparks, they appear to disappear. That is what Reverend Kondanya realized through his super sensitivity. The reality of the material world. The reality of the mental world reflected. The material world reflected in the mind. The only thing that we can experience through our mind. Then what happens? When you realize there's nothing to like or dislike, or nothing to get attached to, or to resent, your mind becomes free of attachment, resentment, and the ignorance of the reality of things that are ephemeral. That means the enlightened state of mind, free from attachment, resentment, and ignorance. Attachment is referred to as raga, resentment as dosa, ignorance as moha. As the disappearance of these three mental elements is called enlightenment. In Pali it is referred to as ragakaya, dosakaya, mohakaya. That is enlightenment. That is possible only through ultimate extreme sensitivity that ultimately becomes our insight, inner sight of our mind. It is the mind that becomes sensitive. The mind becomes sensitive to itself and understands the reality of the mind. But the reality of the mind, what we call mind, are made of thoughts and feelings, and the reality they appear to disappear. And the real mind is empty. It is that emptiness called sunyata in Pali and sunyatva in Sanskrit that we call as nirvana, the final bliss of enlightenment. Mind has to be extremely sensitive to realize that supreme bliss of nirvana that lies within us. As long as our sensitivity is gross and rough, we cannot realize that. By sharpening our sensitivity and developing our mental vision into an insight, we can realize one day the supreme bliss of nirvana within us through our own sensitivity.